hit the record button and we will get started. Okay, let's start off as usual. Who wants to share some good news?
My first closing back with Keller Williams happened on Monday.
Nice. Great job, LaWanda. Great job. Congratulations.
Set for the 24th.
Thank you.
What's up, Andrew?
Mine is set for the 24th for my listing.
Cool. One week
Awesome.
from today.
It's gone through and figured out. So we're set to close at 24th.
Beautiful.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
All right. Did y'all see Brooke? She had her first closing yesterday.
Congratulations.
Got a little bottle of champagne from the office and took a little boomerang in front of the sign. Who else? Anyone? All right. What are we struggling with?
Sure.
Liz?
You
don't have to answer. I thought you were saying something.
Oh, no.
Sure.
That's my son. Sorry. I'll mute myself.
Oh, okay. Okay, what's on everyone's mind? I got plenty I can talk about, but I want to make sure we're giving you what you need. Is anyone having any anything they want to share? Positive, negative, any questions, any feedback, topics?
I got a question. I had somebody contact me about helping them find a rental.
Yes.
How do we go about that?
So in general, we can help potential renters, just like we would help potential buyers. So there is a rental tab within, or a leasing tab, I should say, within FMLS, and you can search for property there. So it is only privately owned property. So single family homes, townhomes, condos that the owner has essentially elected to rent their home rather than sell their home, obviously. And you can be paid to help a tenant rent. Generally speaking, you're going to be paid somewhere between 25 and 50% of the first month's rent. More often than not, it's closer to 25%. So it is not a huge moneymaker. However, it is a opportunity for you to prove your value to another person that should reside within your database, and that you can nurture that relationship for the long term. And ideally, they'll send you other opportunities. Maybe they're renters, it doesn't make a difference. And eventually they will help you, allow them to help you buy. Many, I mean, literally hundreds of people in my database came from a rental experience at the beginning, where I initiated the relationship, or they initiated the relationship because I was marketing a bunch of rentals. And ultimately they bought, then sold, then bought again, then sold, then bought again, then sold, give me a bunch of referrals. And some of those people are the biggest champions in my database right now. And then the approval process is kind of based on, it's really different for every landlord. More often than not, they're going to pay a first month's rent and a security deposit equal to the first month's rent. If the credit's not so great, they might be asked to pay a little bit more security deposit. Every place has a different policy on pets. So if you need to ask your people if they have pets, and they should expect to pay a pet fee. Sometimes that's refundable, sometimes it's not. Generally speaking, you're looking at a minimum of 1 year lease. Okay. Sometimes landlords want a little bit more, but generally they're looking for at least 1 year. The idea there is if they're going to pay realtors to help, place the tenant, and for marketing and coordinating and all that, they want to make sure it makes financial sense. Okay.
Right on. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Absolutely. If you have some specific questions on it, how to search and these kind of things, just let me know. The biggest questions that you should be asking a prospective renter are, one other really important point. Most landlords are looking for a minimum of at least 3 times the monthly rent and monthly income. So if they're signing up to rent, let's say a $1,500 a month place, they really need to have family income of around 3 times that, about $4,500. Otherwise, they're probably not going to be accepted. Okay.
And probably a 550 or higher credit score.
Right. So you might say, hey, they're going to review your credit. Is there anything that you need to share with me now that would cause you to be, not a fantastic, not a perfect candidate, right? If they want a, by the way, and if they say, yeah, my credit's horrible, you want to let them know that there's a chance that they might be asked to pay extra security deposit. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just want to make sure that's discussed up front and say, hey, oftentimes with credit that needs repair, they're going to want a larger security deposit to offset the risk. Are you prepared to do that? Right. Oftentimes, sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. If you go to an apartment complex, oftentimes the requirement and the kind of threshold for accepting somebody is a little lower. However, you don't get paid to do that. However, that's fine too. They don't have a realtor. They wouldn't have called you in the first place, and they still need help in the future too. So I'd put those people in the database as well. Make sense?
Okay. Yep, makes sense. Thank you.
Are there any other follow-up on that? Okay.
Bill,
That's perfect.
I have a quick something that I wanted to share with the group.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Scott at DS Murphy yesterday, and because I'm having this appraisal issue, and he said that they are seeing a glut of appraisals come in too low and having to do rebuttals for these appraisals. So guys, I highly recommend, and he said if the appraisal is not on the books before the bad appraisal, it's very difficult to get them changed. He can and has and does, but it's very difficult. And it costs an extra $200 over what it would have cost if you'd have done it up front. It's $450 up front and $650 with no guarantees after.
Repeat those prices for me, please.
It's $450 if you do it up front, and it's $650 if you have to have him come in on the backside, because they have to do the appraisal, and then they have to spend time doing a comparison between what the other appraiser did and their appraisal and doing the rebuttal for you.
Okay, so $450 for a pre-listing appraisal, and if you end up with an issue and you need help with a rebuttal,
then it's free.
$650. Wait, what?
If you do it up front and you need help on the backside, then it's free.
Right.
But if you don't do it up front, then it's $650 on the backside.
Right, but oftentimes, like if you are the buyer's agent and the appraisal came in low and you would admit that it's not a good appraisal and it's causing trouble, how much would a buyer have to pay to help defend that? Or maybe you'd encourage the seller to pay it or split it or something, right?
Yeah, it would be $650.
Yeah. Okay. So did everyone catch what I said there? Like if I forget what situation you're in, Jan, but let's say Jan's working with the buyer and the appraisal comes in low and it's basically everyone admits it's a bad appraisal, yet it's still getting in the way of the transaction closing. The seller might consider hiring DS Murphy to help rebut the appraisal. Or they might just say, hey, either buy it or don't buy it, right? It depends on the price range. If the home's $500,000 or more, the seller's probably going to bend over backward to make it work. If the home's 200 grand and there's 1,000 other people that would buy that home, then they're probably not going to bend over backward to accommodate your buyer, right?
Did they give any statistics as far as how many bad appraisals they get fixed?
No, but he said it was just a tremendous amount that's coming in right now, which has not been the case. But because of this unstable uncertainty as to what the market's going to do in the next 90 days or so, I would suspect, he didn't say this, but I would suspect that's why these appraisals are coming in low, because what's going to happen is the market's going to turn and the bank's going to get a bunch of houses back. Well, they don't want to be blamed for it, because that means they lose their job and it's going to be difficult for them to get another one.
Yeah, that's what we discussed yesterday, I believe, where they're trying to find the balance between being in integrity and not killing the deal and not doing a bad job that they get looked back on later through some type of audit that causes them to be scrutinized even more.
Bill, can you answer something for me on an FHA loan? What is the look back period for that appraisal?
You mean in terms of how old can the comps be?
No, how long will that bad appraisal stick with this property?
I think it's 120 days.
Okay. And then the financing contingency, I was told by the other agent, and I'd never heard this before, even though it says 15 days or 21 days, because it's an FHA loan, it goes right up to the day.
Not the financing contingency yet, the appraisal contingency, yes.
The appraisal contingency, okay.
So in the FHA loan exhibit, there is a time period for the financial contingency, right? Normally, as we know, that's around 21-ish days or so. But there's language in there, it's called the, used to be called the amendatory clause, which basically states that the property must appraise for at least the sales price, or it gives a blank basically, which you put in the sales price. So if it does not appraise for the sales price, even up to the last moment, meaning through the date of closing, then it's excusable or possible for the buyer to leave the deal if they can't get the seller to agree to lower the deal. I believe, I haven't looked at this lately, but I do believe they're, mechanically speaking, the seller or the buyer does have to ask and get rejected. They can't just say, oh, low appraisal, I'm out. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, we started talking for a minute the other day or yesterday morning about the database and why it's so important to make sure that you have a strong focus on the database, particularly in a shifting market. Did anyone give any additional thought to that, or you want to talk a little bit more about why having why an agent should be a database focused agent? What ideas do you have for that? I know sometimes you might hear, it might sound like I am preaching go call a bunch of strangers, but many of us, I think probably all of us would admit that we probably need more people in our database. So if you don't have the people in your database from your previous work environments or your friends or family or neighbors or peers or business owners and these kind of things, we gotta find them somewhere. Sorry, LaWanda, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just think for me, being in the classes and just kind of seeing the Zoom calls with a lot of the top agents focusing on the database, it's repetitive of how strong our database should be and what it should look like in order to, take our business to the next level. And even coming from, Century 21, it's all been about the database and having a strong database. And I've seen other top agents for other companies focus, a lot on the database, however that may look to someone, but having a strong database, ultimately results in, good business.
100%. Thank you for sharing that. Somebody said this the other day, I forget who it was, but they said, real estate success is really at the crossroads between numbers and relationships, right? And the closest thing to the crossroads of numbers and relationships is your database. How big is it and how deep are those relationships, right?
I think everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people eventually are going to have a need for some type of real estate service. And you want people to remember, you want to be in the forefront of their minds that you're the real estate expert. So, you need to constantly nurture your database, reach out to those people, just so that they can always remember that you're their contact person, you're their go-to person.
100%. 100%.
And I would even add something else to that, not only just the need for real estate, but a need for something. It can be a plumber, it can be, a referral for a roofer, whatever that need may be, because again, like Bill said, and, we're in the business of building relationships. So it may not be a need for real estate today, but a year from now, it could be that need.
Yeah, exactly. Good. That's a great point. It could be who's my painter or who's my roofer or who's your insurance agent or any of that kind of thing. Because
I have an example. I had I had reached out to folks in my database to let them know about the low interest rates,
Right.
and someone contacted me back asking me for referrals to lenders in Rhode Island. And so they're looking to refinance their properties. And I'm hoping that, once they refinance, maybe they might start thinking about, or I can start prompting them to think about investment. And hopefully they'll reach out to me, and then I can get that referral to an
100%.
agent up there.
I was in a training class a few years ago with Gene Rivers, and he said you should go into your database and look for every single person, and let me explain, and I'll give you a variation of this in a second. Look for every single person that's transacted a sale over $300,000. Another way to think about that is, who do you know that owns a home that's worth over $300,000, right? And every one of those people should be bought a copy of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, or I'm sorry, the Millionaire Real Estate Investor. And you should have a one-on-one seminar with them about how you can help them build wealth through real estate investing, right? If you own a home that's $300,000 or higher, right? And there's a lot of generalizations here, but generally speaking, these are some people with a little bit of disposable income, most likely, right? And are probably looking to build additional wealth. They should be in conversation with you about their long-term real estate investing plans. Everyone agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Okay, so keep that in mind, and maybe have buy a case of the Millionaire Real Estate Investor books, or share it with somebody.
Yeah. Do you actually have a
Great.
spot you can, we can buy a case? Is there a website or?
Yeah, you can go on, you can find it on KW's website, but I think it's called Keller Inc. Let me double check. kellerinc.com. There's basically all of their what do you call it? Books and curriculums, and shift books, and buy cases of MREA and hold in your first home, and the one thing, and all that stuff, so you can get some group discounts.
Oh, awesome.
Don't go spend every dollar you have buying cases of books, but if you haven't read these books, it's probably worthwhile to either listen to them on YouTube or buy a copy for yourself. And when you decide that, hey, I'm going to get strategic about sharing this book, right? You can buy 10 Millionaire Real Estate Investor books for $120, right? So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
let's say 3 or 4 of you guys wanted to get together, and you each got 3 or 4 copies, and then you sent out a message to your database saying, hey, I'm going to be doing a seminar, and for attending the seminar, you can get a free copy of the Millionaire Real Estate Investor. Click here to register, and all of a sudden you get 12 people that register. Well, you go buy some more books. See what I'm saying?
Awesome idea, Bill. Thank you.
So something like that. And they got the flip book, the hold book. So that's also attractive to investors with different, am I going to buy a home for 90, put in 30 and sell it for 180? Or am I going to buy a home for 130, put 10 in it, and then rent it out forever, right? Totally completely different agendas that might attract investors with different short and long-term goals. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Anyone have any other ideas for why having a database is probably a more strategic business plan, rather than being what I would call a little bit more of a transactional broker? Not the Georgia Real Estate Commission or the Georgia license law version of what a transaction broker is. I'm just saying, are you more concerned with the relationships, or are you more concerned with the numbers? I think one of the biggest ones, honestly, is databases are shift proof, right? Shift proof. If I'm all about the numbers and all I care about is running people through the cycle, then if I'm used to doing a certain number of transactions and the market suffers, I'm probably going to do less. If I've got more relationships built, right, and they come to me for help when things are good, and they come to me for help when things are bad, then I can help them in any environment. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other ideas? Okay. Couple things. I just wanted to. We're finishing up this book called. I don't have the flashy cover with me, but it's called The Energy Bus. We're reading this as a part of our leadership team. And I just want to read you a line or two from this book that I found was really interesting. It's talking about enthusiasm. And this is one of the rules for this bus. Has anyone read this book called The Energy Bus?
No, sir.
It's really good. It's like a little fable. It's like this much corny, but it's got some really great phrases in it, some really great ideas. And it's talking about enthusiasm attracts more passengers and energizes them during the ride, right? Who's going to be like on your bus as you're accomplishing this vision or mission, right? And it says, you get a reputation as someone people want to work with when you have enthusiasm. Customers want to work with you. Salespeople come to you for advice because they're looking for that enthusiastic energy to increase your sales. When you live and work with enthusiasm, people are drawn to you like moths to a light. Okay, Walt Whitman said that we convince by our presence, and when you're enthusiastic, you project an energy that convinces people to get on and stay on your bus. It's about positive energy, right? So if you walk into a listing presentation and you're kind of like, so when do you want to move? How soon do you need to be there? What price do you think this home should sell for? Right? You send off one vibe. If instead you come in, you're dressed right and you're energetic and you got your back up straight and you're like, let's get started, and they can see that you're really excited to be there and really excited to jump in and help with this project, you're gonna be much more likely to be hired. Have you guys ever noticed that?
Definitely.
Give me an example, Andrew, please.
Well, I don't know. I was just kind of like imagining that in my head, somebody that I've talked to in sales, maybe at like a cell phone store or at like, I don't know, like a car dealership or something, where they're full of energy and smiling and you feel like they're your friend, versus some slouch that's kind of lazy and doesn't share the same excitement you have when it comes to buying a house or selling a house. You should feel that mimicked feeling.
Right. Like I always find it interesting, like I hope no one takes offense to this, but like I've gone into a cell phone store before and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for, the new, what's the best phone you got for T-Mobile, right? And I'm going in there knowing that I'm going to spend probably $1,000 on some phone, right? And I'm like, what's the difference between this one and this one? What's the, what does this one do? Why should I get this one instead of this one? And they're like, I don't know, just, kind of look it up, right? I'm like, peace out. I'm not buying anything from you, right? But if I walk in, I said, hey, I want to buy a top of the line phone. And they're like, oh my gosh, you should see this camera. Look at what this can do. Oh my gosh, have you ever like tried this feature before? Let me show you this thing. Then I'm like, okay, is that a $1,200 phone? Can I buy that, please? Right? You see what I'm saying? If you get excited about showing these homes and you get excited about, posting ads on social media to help a seller sell, or hiring the drone photographer, we're going to get the drone guy out and he's going to get a view from this side and that side, and we're going to get a shot of the swim and tennis community and the entrance gate, and like you're super excited about the opportunity to work with somebody. It's contagious. Everyone feel that?
Yes.
Okay. That wasn't too exciting.
Yeah. Woo!
All right. I appreciate that, guys. Okay. All right. We're going to go back. Let me just review some calendar stuff with you real fast. We're going to do a PC orientation next month, or this upcoming Monday, from 1 to 2, basic skills from 2 to 3. We are going to do our normal normal growth mastermind Tuesday at 4. Our all group session Thursday at 3, and our launch mastermind at 1 o'clock on Friday. And we'll resume the success series at 12 o'clock on Friday. For today, I'm just going to not do the success series, but I'll be back for the launch mastermind. So please come back and we'll cover some launch mastermind topics. And does anyone else have any questions about anything at this point? I want to congratulate you. We're about halfway through the month in terms of reporting. We are 70% to our goal for listing appointments. So great work going out there and securing some listing appointments. Fantastic. We are a little less than halfway to our listings taken goal of 13. We're at 5 right now. So keep up the good work. Did anybody, I didn't get a message from anybody or see any post in any of our groups about who, what did we say yesterday? Who had the most?
Who added to their database?
Yeah, who added to their database? Did anyone make an extra effort to add some more people to their database yesterday?
I just had 4.
Okay. Did anyone add more than 4 to their database?
I did not.
No.
Okay. LaWanda, you
And
get
one was a
subscribe.
happenstance. Once was a happenstance. I had someone call me and they was like, I have someone that's looking for some property. And to this day, and I'm sad to say, I don't know who the person was. I had the number. They text me and they was like, so when I called back, I'm like, hey, I was like, this is LaWanda. I said, you had sent me a message. You had somebody that wanted to look at some property, but I didn't, I tried to text you back. And she's like, yeah, hey, LaWanda, she's here right now. So I have no idea who the lady is who texts me. And I'm afraid to ask.
Well, ask her for her email address or something. Maybe that'll clue you in. Or Google her number and see if you can find out who she is.
Okay.
I had someone Kathy Ray me yesterday.
What's that?
I had someone Kathy Ray me yesterday.
What is that? Surprise and delight?
I was at Home Depot.
Okay.
Oh.
And I was in the cleaning supplies aisle and I was looking at a few things and she said, hey, if you're considering buying that, I suggest doing this instead. I'm a realtor. I deal with a lot of things. And so I thought I'd just roll with it and see where she took it.
I love that. So she actually, the realtor said that to you?
Yeah.
So where did it go?
So she started talking about her experience and like, I lived in a different place. I've been in the business for like 30 years and like, how long have you lived here? She started making conversation about, are you from here? Did you come from somewhere else? And so she's like, hey, I'd love to contact you, whatever. And then she's like, can you give me, and she's like, actually she started off, she's like, I have this great vendor. If you're thinking about doing this based on the product in your hand, like this guy might be able to help you do things. And she's like, here, let me look up the vendor on my phone. She's like, oh, my phone died. Can you give me your contact information?
I like that. Oh my gosh, I won't be able to give you my information because you're going to lose it. So why don't you just give me yours so I can harass you for the rest of my life?
Right.
Did you give her your card?
Yeah, did you give her
I
your
did.
realtor?
Jokes
I
on
love that. I mean, I love both sides of that. Number
And
one.
then
That's fantastic.
so she's like, oh, you're with Keller Williams. I said, yeah. She's like, they're a really good company. They have good education. I'm with Berkshire Hathaway, blah, blah, blah. I'm going through. She's like, but I used to be with Keller Williams for years. I said, oh, well, are you happy with Berkshire? Or are you thinking about going back to Keller Williams?
Awesome. This is great. This is great. Hey, and send her a link to one of our next trainings.
So she was really happy with the different things. So she looked at me and she's like, you're a single mom, aren't you? I said, yeah. And she started talking to me about what I've been doing in real estate. And
That's probably not a good line. I don't suggest adding that to your script book.
No.
That's like,
but that's when she found out that I was in real estate.
Okay.
And she's like, well, when you go, she's like, so many people now, different realtors, they do different things and they don't even like with the inspections, like where I used to live, we used to go with all the inspectors and do the different things. I said, when I'm looking for my clients, when I go and preview the home, I look at different things. I will go look at the attic. I'll look at different things. I will put on my inspector hat and see what I notice. I'm not just looking at, does the space work, but I'm seeing if they have any problems. And we started talking about different things. And towards the end, she's like, how long have you been in this? I said, 6 months. She said, 6 months? You'd never know that talking to you.
So let me give you a takeaway there. You speak like somebody who has been in the business more than 6 months, and it's because of the topics you discuss. It's the confidence in which you say it, right? And it's the enthusiasm you have about the beginnings of your business, right? So just like a real estate agent notices that, a consumer is going to notice that, right? So that's awesome work. What I would do is shoot her a little message about a really cool upcoming training event, and just see what she does, see what she says.
Okay.
Ask her if she wants to be on your mobile app. Because let me tell you something, Berkshire Hathaway ain't got nothing like that. Nobody does.
Okay. But
All
yeah,
right.
I was giggling in my head. I'm like, I'm being Kathy Wright. I'm at Home Depot. This woman has no shopping cart and nothing in her hands.
Oh, so she's just trolling the store looking for people picking up stuff.
She's doing her bold 100.
She is. And you know what? I would be willing to guarantee she added more than 4 people to our database yesterday.
Yep.
No doubt about it. So what are you doing intentionally today to grow your database? All right, Lawanda, come see me for a prize.
So
Okay.
somebody was
Thank you.
asking about that text message and not knowing who the person was and not really
Yeah, that
wanting
was
to say
me.
anything.
That was me.
Ask them. The way to get their name is say, could you please give me the exact spelling of your name? It works every time.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I've done
Yeah,
that,
I
and
like
then
that.
they say Barb Smith.
Right?
They're
Yeah, we
like,
went into conversation because when I called back, she was like, "Yeah, you know, I had to go to the leg doctor today. They're talking about surgery." I mean, and went into a full explanation. I'm like, "Oh my God, I feel so bad because I don't know who this is. Like, I can't even sympathize with her and say, hey, do you need something? I wouldn't know where to take it to."
well,
But it's an opportunity.
Google her name, Google her number.
Okay.
Do that reverse lookup.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, guys. I will see whoever would like to attend our session at 1 o'clock today, 1 to 2 o'clock. I appreciate you being flexible with me on the lunchtime reschedule. And make sure you're real intentional about growing your database today and this weekend, okay?
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.